Good afternoon. My name is Shekesha J Presentation. Today I will be presenting the comprehensive plan based off of Fountain Elementary School, a school that is within Clayton County Public School District. The basis of my story is the Three Little Pigs. How many of you have heard of the Three Little Pigs and the Big Bad Wolf? Alright, so today I'm going to talk about how the Three Little Pigs ventured from home. They were adults now, and they went to build their own homes, and the first pig built his house out of hay. And as the story goes on, we'll find out which house had the best foundation. We want to make sure that Fountain Elementary has a solid foundation as we progress through the years. And the Big Bad Wolf is the Georgia Milestones. Welcome to Fountain Elementary School, where this school was founded in 1989. It sits on the highest hill at the southern point in Clayton County. It is nestled off of West Street in Forest Park, Georgia. And it was founded by a former president, Morris Brown, who took Morris Brown, it was founded by Mr. Fountain, who was a former president of Morris Brown College, who took that school through the Great Depression and got them through the financial difficulties. Currently, the principal of Fountain Elementary is Miss Jamila Kirk. She has been the principal of this school for 7 years. And the assistant principal is Dr. Roxanne Dixon, and she has been the assistant principal for 3 years. The vision statement for the county is that we are preparing all our students to live in a competitive and socially successfully in a global society. And then we have our mission statement. The mission statement of Clayton County Public Schools is to be accountable to all stakeholders for providing a globally competitive education that empowers students to achieve academic and personal goals and to become college and career-ready, productive, responsible citizens. So when we take a look at Bear Country, also known as Fountain Elementary School, we have had an enrollment starting 5 years ago at 727 students, and we have in 2013 had an increase. 2013-14, they had an increase to 777 students. And then 2014-2015, the first year that I worked at Fountain, they had an increase of students to 829 students. And then in 2016, they had a slight decrease to 790 students. Our enrollment by our grade bands from pre-K to kindergarten to first and second. So in kindergarten, first and second grade, I've noticed that we have always had a higher number of students. But as we get to the intermediate grades, there's that clicker. As we get to the intermediate grades, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, that is where we see a decrease in the student population. Enrollment by gender. At Fountain Elementary, we started off with higher male students, but then we have decreased and we have more girl power at Fountain, so we have more girls populating this school. If you were to come to Fountain Elementary, you would see more Hispanic students, and you will also see more African American students. That school has always had a high population of African American and Hispanic students, and the third highest race would be our Caucasian students. There we go. Caucasian, and then our Asian population. But as you can see from the data, we've always had high numbers of Hispanics, high number of black students. Student with disability. At Fountain Elementary, when looking back at the data, we did not have high population of students with disability until the last 2-3 years, where we start increasing our students with disability to 24% and 27%. And that is because the county has made Fountain Elementary School a school that takes on more students with disability. So we have more modules of EBD students and MOID students. Fountain gifted students. As you can see from this chart, we back in 2012-2013 school year, we had 32 gifted students, and that stayed steady for 2 years. However, in the last few years, we have had a sharp decline in our gifted students. We went from 32 to 3 students last year in the program at the school. So that was very alarming data for me. Economically disadvantaged, being that Fountain is a school in Clayton County. All our schools are Title I. So this data was also alarming to me too, about how the students are ranking or how they're considering students to be economically disadvantaged, because most of the student population at Fountain Elementary School, they're coming out of homes that they live in like extended stays, and so we have a very high homeless population, and coming into the next school year, we're being rezoned, so a lot of the students will be coming, have that homeless background. If you walk into Fountain Elementary School, you are going to definitely experience the English language learners, high percentage of them. However, we are seeing a shift in our Hispanic and our African American students. Right now we're seeing a higher population of African American students versus our English language or our Hispanic students. So I know last year we did lose an ESOL teacher just because of the numbers being under 200. So our ELL learners are leaving Fountain and going to other schools or being zoned for neighborhood schools near us. The teaching staff at Fountain. So the teaching staff at Fountain educational background looks like this. We have 39% of our teachers holding a bachelor's degree, 31% of our teachers are holding a master's degree, and 21% are holding a specialist degree, and then 8% a doctorate degree. In 2015-2016, we saw a slight difference in the teachers, where we have an increase in teachers holding master's degree. And that is because a lot of teachers that are coming to Fountain are in the TAP program, and so they already have one degree, and then a lot of times they're getting that second degree in education. Our attrition rating. Well, at Fountain, we can't seem to keep our teachers there. So as you can see, in 2013, we had under 10% of our teachers leave. But in 2014-2015, we had under 20% leave. And then 2015-2016 school year, we had under 50% teachers leave. So something is going on, but I can't really speak on why the teachers are leaving. But they are leaving and going to other districts and not staying within the county. I do know that. Welcome to Bear Country again. Fountain Elementary is nestled on the highest hill in Clayton County. It is a school in Forest Park, Georgia. The teaching staff is very diverse at Fountain. We have different cultures, we have different ethnicities, different religions, and the same thing with our student body. This lady right here is the principal of our school. This is Dr. Dixon, our assistant principal, and this is our phenomenal counselor who takes care of all our needs when it comes to registration and just having a good background, knowing each of the students that she enrolls into the school. If your student attend Bear Country or Fountain Elementary School, they will be able to participate in various programs. However, because our attrition rate is so high, each year our programs for after school, they're changing. My first year there, we had a cooking club, we had fitness club, and when But in 2016, the only consistent program we've had is the Beta Club, and that is because that teacher has been at Fountain for over 10 years. So I even stepped up this year, and I did a step team. So these are the different programs that have been held for the students to participate in after school. We have various partners that works with Fountain Bear Country. We have Chick-fil-A that supports us. We have the Clayton County Adult Felony Program that works with us. We have the First Baptist Church Hispanic Mission of Forest Park that works with us. And we also have the J.C. Penney Office 75 that actually gave our students back-to-school clothes and book bags for the 2016-2017 school year. We also have enrichment programs that are held after school or during the day. It really depends on the person who's putting on the programs. But we had a literacy night that it involves the student, the parents, and the teacher. It gets everybody involved. And this year we added a poetry night to our literacy night, so students were able to sign up and recite poems that they wanted to do, and we made it like a little cafe, and the parents was told you had to snap your fingers and instead of clapping, so teaching kids about the culture and the families about poetry. And after the poetry session was done, we had a display of project boards of reading projects in the cafeteria. Not only did we have literacy night every year, we've also had math and science fling, and every grade level has to participate. And these programs are to help increase math and science participation at home and in school. And then we also had our wax museum that we invited the county, we invited different stakeholders to come and participate and see what our students were able to do for Black History Month. Where does Fountain stand? Again, we know that a house made out of hay is not going to last. So are we going to keep a house made out of hay, or are we going to make a house out of sticks? So do we want this to happen, or do we want to get to the solid foundation? So currently, Fountain Elementary CCRPI score is a 64.1. We were a little worried right here in the 2013-2014 to 2014-15 year because we were going to be put on the academic watch list. However, that 0.9 kept us from going on academic watch, which was great news for us. And then the next year we increased to 64.1, so we were super excited. We know that our science scores helped us there. We made some significant growth in science. Our school climate ratings. So basically the average of these last 3 years, Fountain is sitting at a 3 for their school climate rating score. So that's based off of how people feel about Fountain Elementary School. Student mobility rate. We cannot, again, because of our school being a very transient school, we have a lot of students that are leaving, and due to the fact that they're homeless and extended day offers, or not the hotels, but the apartment sales are off, parents are moving, and they're trying to find locations for their kids to stay. So we have seen a major increase on keeping students at our elementary school. So in kindergarten, first and second and third grade, our students engage in DIBELS and M class. After I talk about the DIBELS information, I'm going to talk about the M class. DIBELS is a reading fluency program that basically is trying to get all students reading on target. At the very beginning of the year, we test the students after winter break. We test the students, and then at the end of the year, we test the students. So the students are tested 3 times out of the school year, and at kindergarten students usually always come in at the intensive level. And of course, you don't want the kids to be in the intensive, which is the red. But kindergarten students usually come to us with an empty slate, so you got to fill them with stuff before you can get their scores to change. However, what we're seeing at Fountain is that even our first, second, and third grade students who has been attending Fountain Elementary School are still seeing high numbers in the intensive area when they're starting off. And I think I'm down here first. So your goal is by the end of the year you want most of the kids in green. And so, of course, the kindergarten students are blowing first, second, and third grade out the water when it comes to being benchmark students. Same thing in 2015-2016 year. We're seeing the same trend. Our kindergarten students are definitely outperforming, but it looks like first grade did have high growth in the middle of the year. So that is the Dibbles data. M class is math, and basically you're trying to get the students to be math fluent. You want the students to be able to not be in intensive. You want them to be benchmark students. And as you can see, just in this mid-year, our second grade students are showing major growth. But then we have a decline, and they're not moving. And I believe that the data is telling us that we know the rating, the scores change of where students should be at to be benchmark or strategic at the end of the year. So have we pushed them hard enough to get to those benchmark scores? And as you can see, third grade, they're lagging. And I believe third grade is lagging because they have so many other things to focus on. And another thing about this program, Dibble and M class, Dibbles and M class is ran by the early intervention teachers, and they do not teach what the classroom teachers are teaching. So they are being pulled out of the classroom during instructional time and being taught a different curriculum. So when it comes to, when we look at the Georgia milestones and M class and Dibbles data, they're not correlating for our third grade students. And the same thing with our math. Our math scores are a little bit better because kids they like numbers a lot better at the younger age than they like to read. So, of course, in 2014-2015 was the first administration of the Georgia milestone. So this was the 2014 data, and this is how our students look in the reading or the ELA. As you can see, we are really high in the developing and the beginning levels, and we're very low where we really need the students, and that is in the proficient and the distinguished learner area. So as you can see, Fountain we have work to do just from the first administration of the test. So as we go to 2015-2016, we see pretty much the same trend in all subject matters. In social studies, we still had over 40% of the students at the beginning level, and in science, under 40%, in math, the same, and the reading also, it was over. So as you can see, reading in that beginning level is pretty high. So my philosophy is that if you can't read, you can't do anything else. And then the only area that seems to have grown is our science for the 2015-2016. And earlier I said our CCRPI score increased due to the science because we have more distinguished learners, so we earn more points on the state report card. Our ELA overall in proficient and distinguished versus Clayton County in Georgia. As you can see, Fountain is lagging, but we're not that far away from Clayton County. But we're a long way away from the state of Georgia. So we really need to do some work. And also, we are doing a lot better in the, well, no, we're not. We're not doing well in the proficient area or the distinguished. So in our ELA area, we have, we got to do some work. Same thing in math too. Fountain is in the blue, and our beginning levels in developing students, proficient, distinguished, we're behind. We're behind Clayton, and we're behind the state of Georgia. Same thing with our science. We are in the purple, and well, no, we're doing a little bit better. And again, this is the year that our scores went up because our students did extremely well in science in 3rd grade. In 3rd grade, our students did extremely well. Social studies looks pretty much the same. This is Fountain down here compared to Clayton and compared to the state of Georgia. I also found data on breaking it down from based off of the students with disability, our English language learners, our economic disadvantage, even though it was reported on the sheet, it always had a 0, and so I'm not sure why it was on the report, but every, for ELA, Math, Science, and Social Studies, the report was always 0. So I also compared the data for our white students, our Caucasian babies, our multiracial babies, Hispanic, blacks, and our whites. So as you can see, our Hispanics and our black students seem to be kind of neck to neck in that beginning and in that developing area, but that's our highest population. And so we don't have any subgroup that seems to be outdoing one another. They seem to be neck and neck in the ELA portion. Again, this is a math breakdown, the math breakdown based off of the students at the school, all students, black, Hispanics. But as we can see, our Hispanic students seem to be doing a lot better in the math portion, getting that proficient and that distinguished level than our other high population. And it shows to be true here with our English language learners. So something great is happening right here, but they're our highest population. Same thing with the Science Georgia milestones. This is a breakdown again based off of ethnicity and subgroups, and our English language learners seem to be taking off, which is a great thing. And same thing with our social studies. Retained students. Of course, the Georgia milestones came in 2014, 2015, and that's when we did not have a high rating, a high number of students being retained. So we had 5 in 2014 and 8 in 2015, 2016. So what the teachers had to do is really document why they felt a student needed to be retained, because the Georgia milestones was no longer a criteria that the 3rd, 4th, or 5th grade teachers could use to say, oh, Johnny is not going to be able to pass. They had to have classwork and substantial documents to really retain a student. But in the years prior, they were able to use the CRCT as a way to retain students. These are the behavior referrals at Fountain Elementary. We, in 2013, 2014, number of incidents was 55, and then suspension days was 92. In 2014, we had a decrease, and we attribute that decrease to really following the PBIS standard that year. And our rules are be safe, be responsible, and be respectful. And so we're still doing different things to push these numbers down. But somehow in 2015, 2016, we didn't really follow through as well. And we saw inflation in our referrals and suspensions. So how do we get better? How do we get that house that the wolf cannot knock down? We have to start building, and we're gonna have to start building a house made out of sticks now, and see if that will work. Well, the comprehensive school improvement plan is created by the administration and the school improvement team. Every year, it is mandated by the county to be updated. So based off of the school improvement plan that the county, as our principal and administration do, I sat down with a group of stakeholders, and I had them engage in the data mining process, and we created a plan for Fountain. So the three areas that my stakeholders found in their data mining was that our writing scores need to be improved, and our developing and our beginning students need to see a decrease in how many students are landing in those areas. So goal number one, the 3rd through 5th grade students at Fountain Elementary School will engage in writing workshop on a weekly basis to increase their writing scores by 3%. Each year from 2017 to 2018 through the 2019-2020 school year. So if we see an increase, we're going to go from 45% all the way to 49.17%. My hope is that if we follow the workshop, even in the first year starting this school year, we will see more than a 3% increase. However, since 3% is more realistic, we're going to go with realistic goals, and if we exceed that, we'll just keep building from there. Goal 2, we will decrease the number of students at the developing learner levels for the English language arts portion of the Georgia milestones by 3% for the next 3 years. So currently, we have 43% of our students performing at the developing level, and by the end, we want to see 39.35% performing. Same thing with goal 3 for the beginning learners. We want to go from 49% to 44.84%. So how are we going to do that? How are we going to get there? How are we going to build that solid foundation that is going to get Fountain to be the premier elementary school in Clayton County? Well, the first thing my stakeholders said was find one initiative that you could get your school to really, really focus on. And so I'm passionate about the ELA, and we know that what's hurting the students is the reading and the writing, but the writing more so because they see it throughout the Georgia milestones. So we will create a writing workshop, and it will start September 5th, 2017, and conclude March 29th, 2018. And the grade bands that test, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, will meet in the cafeteria for a set amount of time, and this program will be ran by the early intervention teachers. So action steps. We have to get administration on board and let them know what our sense of urgency is. Hold a meeting with the 3rd through 5th grade teachers. Supply them with all the materials they need. Train them. Give them the professional development. And also make it a school mandate that we're all going to use the RACE strategy. And RACE is a writing strategy that has been shown to show growth. And RACE is restate, answer, cite, and explain. And then we're also going to get the kids involved. We're going to have the kids have an assembly for them. And then in that assembly, we're going to, tell them the importance of the writing cafe. Then we're also going to get the parents involved, because if we have parent buy-in, the parents will support us. And so we're going to get our parent liaison to have a parent meeting to teach them about the race strategy. So we're going to get that house built out of bricks, one brick at a time, building bricks into a solid foundation. How are we going to monitor this change? We have our school processes. So processes. We have the Imagine It and the Wonders. Those are the reading tools that are used for K2 is Imagine It, and for 3rd through 5th, they have the Wonders material. We also have Accelerator Reader, which is tied to Mayan. If you get your students to read on this program and take the test on AR, it'll help with their lexile bands, and then teachers can add a writing portion to keep the kids writing. We also have our after-school remediation to help our students. We also have Splash Math, because math is just as important, so we want to keep them engaged in math. We also will continue our Title I Saturday schools. And then we will also continue with our PBIS school-wide initiative. So to keep behavior under control and keep the kids engaged, we have our Bear Paw. It's a behavioral management system. It's our program that we use. And the Bear Paw winners get to have a movie day, they get to wear jeans, they get to select different activities that they would like to engage in if they're the winner of the Bear Paw count. So if my class is walking down the hallway and Miss Mackey wants to, she said, oh, your class is doing excellent, she could give my students a Bear Paw, and the grade band with the highest Bear Paw wins. So this is how we track that. Then we also want to keep our parents involved. So for the 2016-2017 year, our parent liaison increased her budget on workshop focused on instructions and curriculum for students. They gave more money in this area for the parents and decreased the supplemental materials, and the activities stayed the same, so the parents can really learn and help their students at home. So we have to keep our parents involved too. So what are our obstacles? Well, as far as we know, the Georgia Milestones is not going anywhere. Another obstacle is our transient students. Our transient student population is going to continue because of where Fountain is located, and lack of parental support. We can't control what the parents do, but we can always just keep motivating them to get involved. Lack of professional development, where those are obstacles, but Clayton County does do a good job of providing professional development for teachers who want to seek other opportunities. And teacher retention. Fountain has to work on, the administration has to work on the morale to keep the teachers there, because if you keep having new teachers each year, then that causes academic issues too. So how are we going to get that brick house foundation? So we're going to continue with our school-wide initiatives. We're going to conduct bi-weekly data analysis. We're going to follow the PBIS plan, and we're going to prepare our 5th grade students for middle school. And we're going to make a plan. So we're going to make a plan and follow it, and you'll see results. So, in order to get rid of this, the big bad wolf, we're going to build a solid foundation at Fountain Elementary, Bear Country. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is stick with an initiative and make sure that we follow through with the initiative. So, our students will see success, and Fountain will be a premier school in Clayton County. Thank you. Any questions about Bear Country?
Yes, I have one. Do you think the teacher retention rate plays a role in the milestone score for your school?
I truly do, because what's happening at Fountain is that they're getting a lot of first-year teachers, and those teachers are not fully prepared, and some of them are, and this is from just knowing in real-time observations with these teachers, some of them don't care. And so you don't care, you're already new to this, and you are put in a grade band like 3rd, 4th, or 5th that counts so heavily. And I do believe, like, if you don't care, it's going to hurt the kids. And so I think our retention rate is hurting our scores. So that's why I was saying that administration is really going to have to look at boosting the morale and keeping highly qualified teachers in the building. Because if each year you got to retrain new teachers over and over, it's like it just started from scratch. And they're not going to get that solid foundation. So, yes.
Does your county offer any type of teacher retention incentives?
I know this year they did do some new things. The superintendent that is actually leaving out, she did start, what was it called? It was some kind of, huh? Oh, the signing bonus. They did start that. And then we also, like, I received a certificate, and I've only been in the county for 3 years, and I know they did something for 10-year teachers. So I think they're starting to do more of a teacher appreciation early on, so they don't lose teachers. Any other questions?
So how do you think your school will respond to your school improvement plan? Do you think they will readily jump on? How are you going to motivate them to want to do it?
Well, I've already pitched this to my principal, and before I even knew we had this assignment, I was telling her, just looking at the scores that came in, like some thoughts that came forth, and she said yes, but I think she needs to see it laid out. So my game plan is to present this to her. Like, I'm going to just shoot her this entire PowerPoint and be like, look at here, you do this, I'm sure them scores will increase. So, I mean, I hope she will use it. I've already talked to her. She sounds interested, but that's one of the issues, is that she doesn't always keep the follow-through going on.
Okay. And so then if the principal is not going to follow through, how can you, I guess, advocate for the teachers to kind of do a better job?
What I did was, in 5th grade, I just did it. Like, this is what we are going to do regardless. And so I would just, talk to the other teachers and say, hey, let's just be uniform, and then talk to the instructional facilitator and to give her my ideal. And if she gets on board, then she'll support us, and she'll tell administration, well, this is what my teams are doing. And so that's another way to get it. Even if my principal doesn't support it, we can still get it done, because I can always pitch to the ISF. And if she feels that something is going to help the students and her team is going to rock better than the other teams, she's going to be on board with it. Any other questions? All right, thank you.